Alright guys, welcome back to Beat the Game. This is Steve and we're going to be deck building for our friend Valkyrie. Now, out of all the aspects, I think the one I think she's going to be the most efficient as will be definitely aggression. That is definitely the aspect that she should be run as, just because she's got the potential to be a real good minion killer. The fact that she can ready with the deck glow and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fun ways to play her. Her precon was a little weak and lacking a couple things, especially in the terms of resources. So we're gonna actually try to remedy that with this aggression build. The first of two aggression builds. The first one is more for flavor. I think this is just is it the optimal deck? No, but it definitely is going to be more fun than a barrel of monkeys. So this is called Asgard Assemble, and we are going to be assembling the Asgardian team by using the Bifrost. So this is that new card that was presented in her kit. And then the Bifrost says that you can only play it if you're an Asgard character. And then you can do it as in an alter. Once it's on the table, you can do it in alter ego or hero form. And you can just exhaust the Bifrost and search your deck for some Asgard allies. All right, so that's fun. Now, one controversy that we didn't include. Now, the only reason I'm not including it, it's because it's Valkyrie. It doesn't have Brumhilde on the bottom. But Valkyrie is an Asgard and an Avenger. I know there's like millions of Valkyries out there, but this one is the Avenger one. So if it was just Asgard and it wasn't an Avenger, I would 100% include it in my deck. But just because it says Asgard Avenger, I will not include her in this deck. But again, you're free to include her if you want. That's, whatever. No one's gonna stop you. All right, so obviously we have Angela that came in her kit. We had Throg and Thor that came in her kit, so that's always fun. I put also Lady Thor. So again, see double Thor, but this is Odin's son and this is Jane Foster. And then we have Heimdall, which I think would have been a little bit useful here in the pre-con, just as a way to have a character that can remove 2 threats for that. All right, so aside from that, since we have a lot of those Asgard characters, team building exercise is definitely going to be a support you're going to want to be running. Obviously, team building exercise doesn't synergize well with the Bifrost, but it does synergize with all of the cards if you have them in your hand, because it just reduces the cost. But there's also a lot of other Asgard cards that you can pay for with the team building exercise. Like I said, she needs resources, so she's an Avenger. So Quinn Carrier can reduce some costs, Helicarrier, and then Avengers Mansion. This is all like resources. She does need that. So the Quinn Carrier and the Helicarrier is just so you can kind of move around the deck glow for free. You can at least do it twice per turn. So that's always fun and always kind of generate resources. So I think that's fun because it's always going to have something that you can do solo or multiplayer. This is going to be pretty interesting to do. Aside from that, I did add a lot of economy. So obviously we want to make her a little bit stronger. So adding the combat training, only one of martial prowess. Again, more economy is what you need in her kit. And then it's basically, since we also have a lot of allies, we want them to punch a little bit harder. So the boot camp is there. Aside from that, for threat control for this deck, we added triple into the fray. Again, I think it's one of the best cards in aggro. It deals damage, it removes threat. And since this is a deck that we want to stay in hero form, I added 2 moments of triumph to make sure that we always have a healthy hit points, so we can actually stay in hero form longer. And the rest is just resources. So 2 powers of, and then the 3 doubles. So this is like resource palooza here. So she will be able to perform like a beast once everything is on the table, and it won't take too long to set up because again, having all these double resources really accelerates your setup time. So there you go. So that was the first deck for aggro. Obviously, if you want to have If you want to be a little bit more cheeky, again, you can definitely add Lockjaw to this mix, which is definitely going to add to the threat removal aspect. But between the Into the Phrase and Heimdall, you're pretty solid. If you want to add one thing to the deck, I would add one First Aid, just to keep Heimdall into play forever. But yeah, aside from that, there's nothing more that I would add to this deck. Just I want it's good to stay at 40 cards. This is a 40 card deck. If you want to go to 41, add that First Aid, and you're good. Or Godlike Stamina, or something like that for your hero. But First Aid would be my first choice as a extra card. But that's it, just one. You don't need any more, because you want the allies like Throg and Thor to soak up with their toughness, and then use them once and then block with them the next turn. So yeah, so that's the deck. Super simple, super solid aggression build here with an Asgard theme, which I like. All right, so let's go check out the next deck, which focuses on another one of our friends, but the Alliance card as one. Let's check it out. All right, so for the other deck is going to be focusing on one ally in particular. This is going to be a 26 card deck, but we're going to be adding Bug to the mix. Bug, since he is a Guardian, I know I could use Angela, but the reason Bug is better than Angela is because Valkyrie can attack and ready multiple times in a turn. So having that ability will really help Bug stay alive. In order to help Bug stay alive, we need to equip him with an Honorary Avenger to give him 3 health points. You can throw in the Sidearm. You can throw in the Energy Spear and the Enraged, which is why he needs that extra health point. So he can go, so when he attacks, he takes 2 consequence damage. But with this, he becomes an attack of 6 with piercing and ranged. So super solid, 6 piercing and ranged. So these are the cards we added. Aside from that, we added 2 follow-throughs. Again, it's more of a build card, but again, because of the as ones and the Into the Phrase, it makes a lot of sense. So we added 2 as ones as well. These as ones is exhaust, so we can exhaust Valkyrie because she's going to have an attack of 4 with our upgrade here and her Dragon Fang. Plus him, it's going to give him an attack of 6, so it goes up to 10. So by exhausting Valkyrie and Bug, we have an attack of 10, which is way better than her Have at the, which is 3. But this one also gives the overkill, so we're going to have like 2, 3, 4 cards, 5, 6, 7 cards that have the overkill keyword and can actually have some fun here with the Moment of Triumph to help us stay in hero form longer. But the as one, again, it's going to go up to 10. And with the 2 follow-throughs, we can bring that up to 12 damage. Pretty simple. Actually, it can go up to a maximum. So a minion with 1 health left, we'd be able to do 11, which is still super solid. For 2 to do 11 damage is crazy solid for this character. And then again, as a final piece to the puzzle, we added Lockjaw for this one, just for threat removal, because we have stuff to remove from the main scheme. But Lockjaw is always fun to have around if we need somebody to remove some threat on something else. Obviously, she can do a little bit of it, and their Flight of the Valkyrie can do a little bit of it, but not diving too much into those because the Deck Glow is a good mid-game card. I just don't like it in the early game. I think it's just too situational for me. But there you go. So that is our aggression build here. This is as one. All right. So Valkyrie and Bug, a match made in space. There you go. The Valkyrie Bug Alliance. So there you go. So that's it for the aggro deck. Now let's go look at what we can do with her in protection. All right, guys, we're back with a little bit more protection here. Now, protection with her is going to feel super awkward, super weird. It's not going to be something that's super efficient in multiplayer. It's definitely not a go-to aspect for this character in a multiplayer setting. That being said, in solo play, it is still doable because I know some of you guys like, oh, I want to see what they can do in every aspect. So looking at the card pool and looking at everything that was available so far, this is what I came up with. Again, it's very bland. It's a very blah protection build. I can't say that it's something that is exciting, but it is something that is obviously doable. All right, so again, we're going to be focusing on extra resource cards. So Quinn Carrier, Helicarrier, Avengers Mansion, these might be coming back almost in every build just because, again, she has no built-in economy. So these types of cards are definitely a big plus if you can get them out early and really take advantage of them. Aside from that, what I do like is that she does have the aerial trait, so it also lets us play one of my favorite cards in protection, which is Ever Vigilant. You can never go wrong with Ever Vigilant. In solo play, it's really good. The only issue with Ever Vigilant, if there is a crisis icon, you do get to play it, but you won't be able to remove the threat, so you'll have to get rid of the icon, the threat icons. But that being said, there's a lot of things that we like to play with, and I love, again, I'm not a stun lock person, especially that I do play a lot with standard 2. So I try to avoid the stun lock, but if you guys like stun lock, you can always replace the tough cards with stun cards. It's pretty much the same. Oh, actually, it's not really the same. It's just preference, basically. Because stun actually slows down the villain a lot more than a tough status card. I do love the muster courage and the hard knocks here. There's only one copy, 2 copies of muster courage. Again, it's not, the whole deck is not based upon being tough. It just helps you stay in hero form while you kill down some of the minions and use Valhalla and heal up slowly and all of that. Aside from that, as ways of mitigating damage, we included 3 sidesteps in the deck. Because obviously sidesteps, it's good and it's a defense card without actually having to defend, which I kind of like. Which is why we included the Nerves of Steel. Again, it's just for economy, so if I do have it, I put it on the table, boom, and it pays for those sidesteps without actually having to discard cards from my hand extra. So instead of costing a real cost of 2, with the Nerves of Steel, it's just a true cost of 1 card, so it makes that way more simple. Aside from that, she does have a problem with tough status cards. That is something that I noticed in her basic kit is when I was playing against Claw, is minions and villains with tough. She has a lot of attack, but that little ping damage with her is very hard to come by. So I really like the energy barriers and protection to kind of mitigate that. Just put them on the table and keep them there until you actually need them. Aside from that, I did put a couple of Get Behind Me's just because I hate getting Shadows of the Past with her because it's an auto lose. So if you have a Get Behind Me, if you haven't seen it in the discard pile, it's a card that it's actually worth holding on to until you can actually get some allies down. And the best ally, obviously everyone knows, the best ally in protection is our friend Black Widow that can cancel that nasty Shadows of the Past. And then we have Brother Voodoo, and then we have Clea, and then we have a couple of double resources for a 40 card deck. Now, Clea obviously shuffles back in. Brother Voodoo gets you an event card, which is full of in her kit. And then Black Widow can just, remove some threat. And what I like with the Muster Courage is that you can actually, Muster Courage, Brother Voodoo, keep him on the table. Muster Courage, Black Widow, and her until you get to stage 3. And then you can get a lot more toughs out of everything. So I kind of like that. Again, I'm not focusing a lot on tough for everything, like to try to get it every turn, but it's just nice to have a couple of instances where you're going to absorb the damage, prevent all the damage, and just stay in hero form as much as possible with this character, and still have the resources to do some fun things in solo play. So there you go. That's my protection build. Justice is actually a little bit more interesting, and I'll show you this in just a few seconds. All right, guys, this deck for Justice, it's all about the new Alliance card called Problem Solvers, and I really am excited for this in solo play because it's just going to be completely bonkers. All right, so again, we're going to go for resources. We're not going to be running everything, but we are going to be running the 2 powers of justice and the 3 other ones. So that's the 5 double resource. This deck is going to focus on problem solvers and Jessica Jones. That's right, Jessica Jones. I know what you're going to say, well, she's not an Avenger. Yes, but she can become an Avenger with an honorary Avenger. So just that right now on Jessica Jones makes her an Avenger. She gives her 4 health. And then the whole combo goes with these amazing cards called One Way or Another. So there's 3 copies of this in our deck, which forces us to go get extra side schemes and put them into play to draw 3 cards. And then using one of our Guardian allies, so we added Eros as a Guardian ally, we added Venom, we added Jack Flag, and we added Quasar. So these are our Guardian allies. So we put them pretty much all in. What's fun about it is we could, even if it's Theros or Quasar, the fact that Jessica's thwart goes up for every side scheme in play really is tons of fun. So that can go up to, she can go up to like 3 or 4, depending on how many side schemes are out. Against Expert Claw, you start off with 2 side schemes, you get a one way and another, you get 3 side schemes. Now she has a scheme of 4. You have another ally, and then you run the problem solvers, which says hero action, thwart, exhaust, an Avenger, and a Guardian, and remove X threat from each scheme. So removing threat from every scheme, which is crazy. So the only thing that stops that is like a crisis icon from the main scheme, but still it's removing. This is game changing. That's why it's incredibly powerful, especially if you have characters that can go increase their thwart like to up to 4. It's just bonkers. With an ally that can get his thwart up to 4 or 5 with Star-Lord. We're going to be showcasing that deck with Brian, the Alliance cards. I think we did a little bit of it, and it really came together. It was just crazy. But then I was playing Hulk, and the deck, and I was trying to do the as one, and it kind of worked, but it just didn't. Black Panther from Brant wasn't taking off either. So it was really weird. It was weird gameplay anyway. We tried to do that. We're gonna fix that when we play our next one, but we're gonna go back to that in a bit. So problem solvers with one of these allies, you just keep them into play, and then you just neutralize threat like there's no tomorrow with these problem solvers, to make sure that we have enough of these problem solvers, or the one ways or another. We did put in 2 vigilante trainings, which I thought was pretty fun. It's a card that I don't really get to play that often, but with problem solvers, it's a card that I really want in my deck, just to go get it again. And even in multiplayer, I think this is pretty great right there, to see how high we can bring up that threat. So we also added here. I'm gonna just move some stuff here. I added the skilled investigator. Obviously, the shebang. So sense of justice to make problem solvers go a little bit cheaper. The under surveillance, the counterintelligence, all the shralala. Spycraft, and then finally for Spycraft we added Agent Coulson as our other non-denominator, as a shield spy, so we can actually run that Spycraft there. But yeah, so this deck, man, once you see that in action, you'll be like, wow, so much card draw, so much everything, and then the rest of the damage just comes naturally with her. She can just attack for a bunch and then just win the game. But gives you a lot of card draw, a lot of like, okay, let's bring out those side schemes, let's bring out these things. So it's pretty fun. Obviously, you got to be careful because you do reveal the side scheme, so you get the when revealed effects. So obviously, when you're playing these, make sure that you know what you're playing up against, or else it could end up in disaster. All right, guys, so that is the Justice deck. And then finally, we'll see what she can do in Leadership. Obviously, Leadership is super simple, but let's see what we built up for our Leadership build. All right, guys, finally, Leadership. Well, Leadership, big surprise. It's not going to be that much of a challenge. It's got to be not, well, it's going to be something very simple with leadership, because with her, again, she has the health point where she can use her life as a resource, which is great, which gives you time to put up some of those allies very quickly and build up. So obviously, a strength in numbers build is always the optimum what you can do here. What I did like with her is you could definitely have some fun with the teamwork card here, because she gets to ready a lot. I really like that for her. So as far as resources go, obviously we got the 2, the 3, and then we always put one band together, especially if you're building a strength in numbers deck. But the teamwork combo is going to be with Ronin. I like Ronin with a Sky Cycle and an Inspired. All of a sudden, he becomes a 3 attack and a 4 a 3 thwart and a 4 attack. And then we have that hand cannon. I just forgot to put it in here. The sidearm, and then he becomes a 5 attack. So again, you can really build him up very, very quickly. This is a 41 card deck, and then you can have some fun with teamwork, because he can ready, she can ready, does the attack, kills the minion. So then there's like a 9 attack that you can have some fun with, and then she can really go ham on the boss as well, for a lot of damage. Aside from that, it's not that complicated, because then we also have a Mighty Avengers, so we can even go more than that. So that is a 4, 5, 6 plus my 3. Again, we can go up to 9. Did I mention that? Man, I'm getting tired. Too many deck building ideas. All right, and then it's very simple. Then we're adding just a couple of cards here to support our build. Avengers Tower and team building exercise. And aside from that, it's just allies that are super cheap. The 3 strength in numbers. And then we're adding Captain America as a big gun. He's our most expensive. We have Hawkeye to help with the minions and the toughs. We have the White Tiger for some card draw. And then after that, it's Kalu, because it gets us an event, which we have plenty of in our deck. And then it's just the 3 cheapies. Stinger, Blade, and Ant-Man, which are the best 3 Avengers for like cheap builds like this, for these Avengers Assembles build. Again, draw tons of cards, play tons of stuff, and do it fast. There you go. That's what you want with an Avengers build like this for a leadership build. Again, she's got enough health to soak up a lot of damage, especially like even if you defend with the 1 defense, you're still okay. I think you don't even need to defend. You can, again, the way the game is set up right now, a cheap ally build like that, you have time to set that up in 2-3 turns, and then you flip down to Alter Ego. Your allies can deal with threat, and then you just build up so much value, and then you kind of overrun the villain. Again, not the most exciting build, but I love teamwork card, especially with high punching heroes and low thwarting heroes. So this is again with she can thwart for 5 with the teamwork, which is kind of fun there with the Ronin ally. So there you go. We could if I had anything different, maybe I would add some. If I don't want to do the strength in numbers, then I do the inspiring presence, and then I just use Ronin, and then a couple times, and then inspire him and redo it. But this is the most economical build for that, and you can just kind of copy paste that to pretty much any hero and just remove the teamworks, and then add other stuff there, whatever you need. Add more allies, add a Triskelion. If you want to have 6, I think 5 is fine. You don't need to go to the 6 allies. But yeah, there you go. That's basically it. If you want to go a little bit more balls out, you can just add, you can get rid of the teamworks. Like I said, instead of the teamworks, add 1 or 2 Avengers Assemble. Actually, just add 1 Avengers Assemble, and then add 2 lead from the front, so you can just do more damage and more of that. Or even play Moxies if you're going to be flipping up and down fast and faster, up and down every other turn. So there you go, guys. So that's the leadership build. Super simple. Again, Valkyrie is not bringing a lot of new and exciting things as far as deck building goes. You could just basically find what you like in any in your basic aspects. I do like the aggro, what you can do in aggression. I like that, you know, you can assemble a bunch of Asgard characters and just have fun with Asgard. So that's kind of like where she becomes a little bit more unique. Aside from that, from her kit, like we discussed in the previous video, what she can do and what are her strengths and weaknesses there. You can easily shore up with basically every aspect in solo. Multiplayer, again, this deck for multiplayer is going to be just as fun and just as cray because again, you're setting up so fast. You're not going to be a hindrance for your team. You're just going to build, and then just deal like shots of like 25, 30 damage, and then you'll take down the boss in like 2 turns. So there you go. So there you go. So that's Valkyrie in a nutshell. Again, I like the character. I think she's fun, but again, she's nothing. She doesn't bring anything super unique to the game overall. But she's, you know, the fact that she can kill a lot of minions on a turn, it's always fun. So there you go. So that's my opinion. That's my deck building session here for this character. Again, are these decks optimized? No, but I think this is pretty optimized there for leadership. It's a super solid build that can pretty much take on almost anything, I'm sure. All right, guys. So that's it. That's it for me. Keep on playing Marvel Champions. Hope you enjoyed these videos, and hope you enjoy playing with Valkyrie and trying to beat the game. Ciao, ciao.